Honorable Governor for Sepik.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker. Mr. Acting Speaker, I'd like to ask this question without notice to the good Minister for Finance, who is also Minister responsible for the National Procurement Committee. By way of background, this question relates to the financing of the very popular and much needed Connect PNG Program, which is the flagship policy of the Marape-Rosso Government. Now, Mr. Acting Speaker, the funding of all government programs is authorized by Parliament through the bills, which are required to Constitution. As you know, every member of Parliament swore an oath in the presence of the Chief to uphold the Constitution. It is therefore my constitution to raise these very the good Minister, because I have a fear section. My question, good Minister, or deny that awarded the Connect PNG are as follows. For the Momasa corridor, a total for the Highland, a total of 174. For the Trans, a total of 164.2 million. For the Southern corridor, a total of 7.8 million. For the a total of 100.5 million. Manu corridor, a total of 115.9 million. 3 million. The Bolum corridor, and for bridges, a total of 195.5 million. Now, all of these contracts, Mr. Acting Speaker, that are currently active total over 5 billion kina, and could be, with the recent allocation of awarding of further contracts by NEC, could be nearing 6 billion kina. So if the good Minister could confirm exactly what the total value of these contracts are, because I recall recently there was a total of 300 million in contracts awarded under Connect PNG as reported in the newspaper, which do not constitute part of these numbers. My second question, can the good Minister confirm if there is any other allocation for Connect PNG in the budget apart from the 425 million in item 264 under the Department of Works budget for 2023 in the PIP budget? Allocation, could the Minister inform the House where the rest of the budget allocation is? Question 3, if there are no other funds in the 2023 budget for Connect PNG, can the good Minister explain how Executive Government was able to award more than 5 billion kina in contracts against a budget of 425 million in contravention, in direct contravention of Section 209 of the Constitution? Question 4, the PFMA requires that before any tender is awarded, an APC, which is short for Authority to Pre-Commit Funds, is signed by the Secretary for Finance, confirming the funding source and locked in to a particular contract. How is it possible that APCs worth over 5 billion kina were issued against a budget item of 425 million? Question 5, our current approved debt in the 2023 budget is 56 billion kina, as the 2023 budget papers confirm. Since government debt is defined as all debts including contingent liabilities, and since contracts are contingent liabilities, is this additional 5 to 6 billion a part of that number as provided to us by the Treasurer? Or is this additional to and therefore not reflected in our current total debt? If it is additional, could the good minister confirm if our current government debt is therefore 62 billion kina or thereabouts? Mr. Speaker, I have gone through the PIP budget for 2023 and I am not able to locate 5 billion kina that is supposed to fund our very much needed Connect PNG program. It is therefore my responsibility to seek clarification from the good Minister for Finance. Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker.
Honourable Minister for Finance.
Thank you. Assistant Speaker, I take note of the questions raised by our good Governor for East Sepik. I think 5 questions to be specific in relation to Connect PNG, which we all know is a flagship policy of our government, the Marape-Rosso Government, and also in relation to other contracts, especially to do with, which comes under Connect PNG, but more to do with major roads or missing links within our country as well. Assistant Speaker, 1, in relation to contracts and as mentioned by our good Governor, NPC does come under my custody as Minister for Finance, and much of the contracting as we see in terms of Connect PNG, in terms of contracting, comes under that entity, NPC. But the program itself is locked majority with Department of Works, and when we say Connect PNG, the road component is under the custody of our good Works Department and the Minister for Works. But the other components of Connect PNG, such as water, it could be telecommunications, other things are parked under different provisions and different budget allocations for different departments. So what he is referring to is the allocation just for roads only. And I'll try my best to respond to his specific questions. Mr. Assistant Speaker, the contracts under PFMA and under NPC legislations, and most of us in this House and most contractors, people who implement Connect PNG or any other provisions of trying to get a work under NPC know that we have provisions that allow for multi-year contracting, multi-year budgeting, basically meaning that, for example, if we have a road provisioned or stated in the budget for Connect PNG, whether it be a road in whichever province, if we put an allocation of 50 million this year, take for example, we had our Connect PNG road running from Southern Islands to Gulf. That road, in the previous 4 last budget, we've allocated 50 million each in each year. So the road itself, the budget allocation we said would take at least 300 or 400 million. But every year we've been consistently applying 50 million in the budget for a section of a road. And this is allowed under PFMA and allowed under NPC legislation for a multi-year contract, meaning that we can allocate budget provision now and allow the budget to capture consistently throughout the year for us to complete that road. So the question is, when we allocate for a certain provision of roads, such as few of the roads that he's mentioning, take for example the road for Momase could be 1.7 billion. And those are roads that we've allocated specifically, like for example in East Sepik, we have some roads running, and for within the Connect PNG program, we have roads such as the Wiwek, Angoram, and from Angoram coming back from Middle Ramu. That road, we've allocated 20 million in this year budget for one provision from Medeng side. And then another side, we have another 10 million from the Wiwek side. So if you had components of each budget allocation, you can contract for a provisional year or a multi-year. So this number of roads running in our country, not just the ones that we've stated in our time when we took government, but some roads were running in the previous years, but they were not termed as Connect PNG. Take, for example, the road that is under Teleforming District, which connecting western part and the western province and West Sepik as well. That road was running under a program of its own, but now we've elevated that program to be a Connect PNG program. So much of the amount that we see is just major roads we've allocated from existing programs to Connect PNG and the major ones that this government has identified on a multi-year program. So, as you speak, minimum limited budget now law, Gulf Okapa Highway or Miniama Trans Highway Bololoka Muslim law, Kerema, those budgets are in here, and then time we give him contract for that 5 years so by me work, knowing that we will budget every year in this 5-year term to cater for that contract where you may give him. Instead, let me contract him for 1 year. The next year, you may give him same contract again. We're just giving one contract for 5 or 6 years, and we fund consistently. Question 2, AMLO side blow clear, AMLO side blow contract. As to other allocations, Assistant Speaker Trulo, you, as whether there are other allocations to cater for Connect PNG, yes. I take his question as asking for just Connect PNG. Say, for example, we've got programs under SOE that are running to put more towers under telecom. Water programs that are running are part of Connect PNG. Connect PNG is not just roads. So when you add the entire component of Connect PNG, it gives a bulk figure of, when we say 5 or 6 billion under Connect PNG. So for roads specifically, when we say we're budgeting like 400 or 500 million allocation for this year, is just for roads. But when you say the whole scheme of Connect PNG is not just roads, it's jetties, it's ships, it's ports that we need to build. Me answering the question, I'd like to answer in the entirety that is referring to Connect PNG and not just Connect PNG roads. Question 4, on the APC, authority to pre-commit, committee meets and is explained a bit the composition of that committee. And that committee is aware of the multi-year contracting and also aware of the provision that we need to budget for now, but at the same time cater for multi-year contracting as well. So when they meet, Assistant Speaker, when they meet, having knowledge of that provision that we approved now and in years to come we budget, they also have been approving APC forms to allow for contracts to go ahead with the intention that we forward contract and at the same time we allow for budget to cater for those shortfalls. The other 2 or 3 questions, Mr. Speaker, let me just say that the Connect PNG in respect to, we've made a legislation on the floor for us to be sensitive that a legislation allows for us to commit to the Connect PNG, and in 20 years' time we need 20 billion to connect our entire country. 20 billion is not just for roads, 20 billion is majority for roads, but at the same time jetties, ports and other additional infrastructures that we need. Now in terms of that, we've been catering for all of that in budgets, Few have come under funding under agencies like World Bank and other multi-development partners that we have. So those all put together have come up with figures that is mentioned in question 1, such as the 1.6 billion for the Momase side. We've done tremendous work in the Islands Highway, and I think if most of us have been driving to and fro in the road, we've seen major improvement, Mr. Assistant Speaker. So those are major roads running, and as much as we've done, Mr. Assistant Speaker, let me conclude with this remark. When we've been budgeting in the past governments, we've allocated most of this funding to be under national government. What I've seen in the last 4 years in my capacity and few of those roles in finance and planning is that we've more or less been a government to share. The obligation of connecting our own country has been shared, meaning that we've allocated huge fundings to provinces to do their bits in terms of connecting their provinces back to other provinces. Instead of just holding all those budgets, Assistant Speaker, we've given those funds out to districts and provinces to do their bit. As such, you've seen increase in district funding, provincial funding. And if we allocate the funding like 450 million comparatively, Imagine if we were to hold back the funding from giving funding to provincial governments and district governments and allocate all of those funding under Connect PNG. We would achieve at least 3-4 billion kina in allocation of Connect PNG roads only. But, Assistant Speaker, you may give him the money to province, districts, to be able to do their part so that they don't see that we are managing all of that at the national level. So, Assistant Speaker, to respond to that question, one meeting was multi-year contracting and allowed. Anit lo low yumikat, lo put him contract lo 5 year, but you may fund him every year. Number 2, APC savelo law. Now BNM is law now allow him you may lo contract him for 5 year or multi-year contract for 6 years. How you may give him. So all of that and those allocations you may put him. Sample allocation is stop law works. Sample allocation now. Take for example, Governor asked him, so me put him like the Wiwek Angoram Road. You may put in budget, so now you may put him out to tender. Those roads are also important for us to connect from that section, go to Middle Ramu as well. So I think I tried to answer the bit that Miaram, so thank you, Law. Governor Blong. Sepik Loris Lagupla question. Any other way me miss him, I will write to his detailed questions in consultation with my Department of Planning, Finance, and at the same time consulting Works Department as well, so me take him. Governor, give me a question. Thank you.
Governor, supplementary.
My supplementary is as follows, and I appreciate the response from the Minister. If these are contracts that have been awarded in the last 2 years under Connect PNG, as I initially asked, and again, this is specific to Connect PNG. It is not asking about the DSIP and other grants that have been given to districts and to the provinces, which are of course separate, and they may include road components as well. But these are very specifically Connect PNG contracts, and these are specific to do with roads and bridges. These are not to do with communication towers, wharves, or jetties. And it comes back to this point. And I wanted clarification from the Minister, because if reading the budget, where all of the Connect PNG funds are parked, it's 425 million in Works Department. Now, if we were to allocate 425 million a year over the next 5 years and continue to issue contracts against this Connect PNG program, obviously we are going to go over the intended 20 billion over 20 years. We've already allocated and awarded contracts of 5 billion within 3 or 4 years. Hence my question, how are we financing it? And on top of that, where are we reporting on it? Are we reporting on it in the Treasury report when the Treasury comes out and gives us the financial statement for the country and gives us the debt to GDP numbers? Is it there? Or is it being managed somewhere else? And hence my question regarding the NPC responsibilities and the APC responsibilities that come under finance. Who is handling this 5 billion kina? And where is that number, 5 to 6 billion kina? And how is it reported to Parliament? Because if it's off the books, if it doesn't constitute, if it's a contingent liability, it must come under the debt. And might I say, these are the same issues that we had when we were in opposition with the previous Prime Minister, the Honourable Peter O'Neill, under the UBS program. This is the similar question. How do we handle it? And where is it being handled? Is it handled in the budget or is it handled off the books? Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker.
Minister for Finance.
Out of the few questions and issues he's raising, I will liaise with Treasury Department and also with Department of Works, and I will get a clear, more detailed response to this Parliament and to the Honourable Governor as well. Thank you.